Today we're going to talk about retirement reports and just how good are they actually? Are they as good as we think they are? Well, keep watching on today's Fednobabble.
This is Fednobabble, where Kevin and Cassie make federal retirement benefits understandable for humans like you. These two don't hold back as they answer questions from the Fed Pilot workshops and webinars or from questions submitted by you at fednobabble.com.
Well, Cassie.
Kevin, how's it going?
Good. So, I've got to
So
tell
we're
you.
going to talk about reports today, huh?
Yeah, because there is a misunderstanding, I think, about retirement reports. And all the time I get, because so in the last episode, we talked about the Certified Summary of Federal Service and how you need to get that, right? And I hear all the time, well, I got a retirement report from HR.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, really? Well, good for you. First off,
Yeah.
But it doesn't go far enough, does it?
They can really be good for certain information, but there are definitely some limitations to the reports. And some of them I hear from employees or feedback from advisors on what they're getting from the employee. And it's, oh, well, they're just using whatever the employee told them to use.
Right. Right. You plug in some numbers maybe, and you get out what just some formulas, and hopefully the information that you put in is correct. But then again,
That's the
as we know,
kicker, right?
yeah.
Hopefully the information you put in there is correct, or hopefully the information that HR has is correct. I mean, sometimes I see multiple reports from HR, and it's what's right, what's wrong. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It might be okay. Is this including military service or not? Right? Did this include my CSRS service? Whatever the case is, right? We see often where those things can be wrong,
Right.
and they only give a snapshot of what's going to happen your first month after OPM finalizes everything.
So that is, I think that right there is a big sticking point, because, people believe, okay, what's my report? I get my report. That's what I get. Well, for almost everyone, not everyone, and I have to say this, but not everyone, but almost 99% of people who retire live past their first month of retirement, which means, and guess what? Things change after your first month. Well, then how do they change? Wait a minute, something gets more expensive and the income that I thought I was going to get actually goes down in retirement, and so 10, 20, 30 years out, what does your retirement look like? It's kind of important to know that.
And it is beyond me the stories I hear about how federal employees who retired 20, 30 years ago are not even able to get anything from their pension because
Yes.
it's being eaten away by other benefits.
Yes.
And it's really sad. And we definitely don't want that for anybody, because you kind of are thinking your pension is going to be there to help you out.
Yep.
And we want to make sure that's true. Right.
So
And so
I've got a story real quickly. Sorry, another story. This is just great. Last month, I think I was in Virginia doing a workshop, in-person workshop, and a guy comes in, and I just talking with him before the workshop begins, and he had retired, I think it was 9 years ago. And I said, well, this is for people who are going to retire. Why are you here? And he goes, well, I came to see why what's happening to me is actually happening to me, because I don't understand it. And right, little scary. And actually, there's another guy I remember in Fort Worth who came in and said pretty much the same thing, but I think he'd been retired for like 20 years. And he said, what's going on? And as we would go along, and I would say, okay, this is how it works. We had like 50 people in the room. He several times would yell out, are you kidding me? That's what's happening. That's why my retirement is this way. And he did it in a way that made everyone laugh, like, oh, ha, ha, ha. And I said, yeah, it's funny, but you guys, this is serious.
Until it happens
right.
to you.
Until it happens to you. And then all of a sudden it's not so funny. It's not so funny, sir, is it? And he goes, no, it's not anymore. I cannot believe I did not know this before. And that, unfortunately, is what happens, I would say 99% of the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
so sad.
It's so sad. I mean, when you're going through and you think you're getting a certain amount, and then you realize, oh, well, I've got FEHB and I've got my Fagley benefit and I've got, my survivor benefit and I've got all of these things, taxes taken out of my pension, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm left with $200. That's not a good scenario. You're eating top ramen and crackers.
Yep.
And that's not good. I mean, of course, you have your TSP to supplement a little bit, but
when you're expecting when you get a report from HR and it says, hey, you get $2,000 a month from your pension, and you think, all right, or $3,000 even. I don't know whatever it is, and you think, great. And then you actually get into retirement and realize, oh, I only got $1,000 of that sent to me in cash that I can use. That is not what I was planning on. And so I guess our point here is that the report that you get from HR is a great starting point. Absolutely. Yeah. Should you get a report from HR about your benefits? Hands down, yes, 100%. But that's just the beginning. You can't stop there. Because again, that's day one. Well, what about day 2, day 3, and 10, 20, 30, 40 years in the future? It's going to look very different. So Cassie, how can people figure out, okay, what is it going to look like 20 years in the future, so that I don't have to keep coming back to these workshops and trying to learn what's actually going on?
Yeah, so that's exactly what our report shows that the HR reports don't show, is the projected values of what things are going to look like in the future.
Yeah.
Right. We use 10-year averages for things like cost of living adjustment, pay raises, that sort of thing. And for any increases that are going to happen for certain expenses like FEHB. Now, Fagley, that one's just kind of set in stone because OPM makes the prices there. And it's a certain amount per thousand, whatever coverage, right? And it's different, obviously, for the different types of coverage. But we still project out what that's going to look like at those 5-year increments of increases, because some people might think, oh, well, I'm retiring at age 57. I'm only going to spend, $200 a month on my Fagley benefit. That's not bad until you hit 70, when you're paying $1,000 a month for that same benefit.
Whoa. Yes.
That's what eats away a lot of people's pension amount, is their Fagley benefit or their FEHB premium or some other thing that they're not thinking about that's going to be increasing, right? And so right off the top, even a survivor benefit, if you're going to be giving 50% of your pension away, say as a FERS employee or a CSRS, 50%, mostly FERS, but right off the bat, that's an automatic 10%. It's almost 10% for CSRS, right? And it's 10% of that pension. It's not that set dollar amount. Oh, okay, it's only going to take, $300 out or $200 out. Well, what happens when you get increases? Those cost of living adjustments.
Yes.
Then your premium is increasing for that benefit because your pension is increasing, right? And so although you think it's going to be increasing X amount of dollars, it might not be, because again, you're only going to see 90% of that increase because 10% of it's going to that, that survivor benefit. And so,
for example, that's, that 10% is taken out pre-tax. I'm sorry, post-tax. Pre-tax. What am I saying here? It's taxes are figured on it first, and then it's taken out.
For the survivor benefit.
For the survivor benefit. Pre-tax. Yeah, it's not like it's 10%. Let's say you get $3,000, right? And so it's 10,000, it's 10% on the $3,000, right? And then you get taxes taken out after that.
Mhm.
And then, oh my goodness. So it's actually, so you're not getting, so you're actually uh, contributing in that 10% probably more than you would actually think that you would be. Because it's not 10% on what you get, it's 10% on the full amount before the taxes.
Exactly. Exactly. And so it's there's so much confusion around what am I actually going to get for my pension? And that's what the bottom line is.
Yeah.
And then is it going to last me in retirement?
Yeah.
That's the big question that our reports are going to be showing you guys. It's okay, how much do you have coming in? How much do you have going out? We actually project out those expenses for the different benefits based on what an employee has to, and there's different graphs and things like that because it can be very new number heavy just because
Right.
depending on how long somebody has, we show an age of 91 in the report or 95 depending on which kind of report that we're showing. So we'll go out to almost age 100 and you can see those different increases. And you can see how they're going to affect you in retirement. In fact, there's the last page is really what we like to show in that report, and it shows exactly the income and the expenses. But of course, that's only for the government side. That does not include all of the other, ancillary costs that it takes just to live,
Right.
food and mortgage payment if you have one, and all of these other things.
Gas
And
and
so
yeah.
it's very, very key, I think, to get one of our benefit analysis because it's going to project out, and then you have to think, okay, do I need to get life insurance? Do I need to get, what are the things that are not covered
Mm-hmm.
that I need to make sure are covered that I or can be covered elsewhere? When you think, oh, well, that life insurance costs $500 a month. So that's really expensive. Well, what if your FEGLI is costing you $800 a month at age 80?
Hmm.
That's a $300 a month savings when you really need that money. So it might be worth it to get that a little bit of a higher cost life insurance now than what you're actually paying while you're healthy. So that way
Yes.
you can save later on and not have to be stuck with a $800 or $1,000 premium per month for life insurance coverage. And if you're paying $500 a month for life insurance, it's probably going to be permanent. There's a lot of other benefits to that as well. And, an insurance representative or financial advisor can go over those different benefits of a life insurance policy. But there's so many other things to look at when it's not just a snapshot of, okay, what am I going to get when OPM finalizes my pension?
There's so much more to it than that.
What if your state taxes aren't being taken out because OPM doesn't know that you need
That's
state
exactly
taxes,
right. Right.
right? For that often, people don't realize, they think that, oh, well, taxes are taken out of my pension. Not necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Your federal pension or your federal taxes are taken, but your state
Not your
taxes, you
state.
have to actually request to be taken from OPM. And so you could be stuck with a very large tax bill,
So
right? There's all of these different nuances that people have to think about.
yeah, this is dizzying. I mean, really. So when I do my workshops, Cassie, we go into some of this, but I don't want to overwhelm people, so I don't go too deep because minds start exploding, right? And then they think, "Holy cow, can we ever retire?" Right? We get into it enough to where it hits them, and they go, "Oh, oh, I guess I really need to think about this," right? And so, honestly, I have never, I guess you and I have never had a discussion about all these things that get taken out, and now my mind is even being blown with how many things can get taken out and how many things can change in here from this is what OPM gives you for your pension. Well, oh yeah, make sure you take out this. I mean, all these different things. It is mind numbing to tell you the truth. And so what I say in my workshops is that with your report that everyone gets, and that, by the way, anyone listening or watching today can get as well for free, that these reports, when you get them, they show what the future, it's like a crystal ball, that here's what's going to happen in the future. Here's what we expect, all things being equal, this is what we expect to happen. And when they look at that, they go, oh, wait, you mean my deductions can outstrip my pension amount, and I'm actually having to pay out of pocket into it? So really what it is looking down the road and saying, oh, there's a pothole there. Well, then the question is, how do we fix it now rather than trying to panic and fix it later? So if we look at this report and the crystal ball, and it says in 20 years, this is going up and you're not going to have this and things are going to go a little topsy-turvy. Well, maybe I can save a little extra money now in a certain spot, so when that does happen, I've got it covered. But if we don't see into the future and know that that's going to happen, we're going to run into that 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, 5 years in the future. I mean, really, it happens even 5 years in the future where people start panicking. They go, I didn't expect that. Well, that's what the report's for. We want to make sure everyone sees what's coming so they can plan for it and expect it, and retirement's a time not to worry, right? Isn't it?
Well, it should be.
It should be.
If planned correctly, it can be, right? But we don't want people to think, oh, well, I can delay my Social Security benefit so that way I can maximize that benefit. And then 5 years into retirement, they realize that they don't have the income they might have thought that they had. And now they want to take that benefit early and take a 30% hit because they didn't plan properly, right? These are the things that retirees worry about. And that's why it's so important that what we're trying to help employees get the information that they need to avoid these costly mistakes and make sure that they're financially set or in a better position. I mean, it never hurts to get another set of eyes on your plan. If you've created one, fantastic. Let our trusted advisors review that with you, so that way we can make sure that that's actually going to work out in your best interest and that's what you should be doing. I mean, I can't tell you how many of our advisors have, if somebody comes in with something, they'll tell them, hey, this is great or this isn't great. They're going to be straight up with you. They really have your best interests at heart, because we only work with advisors who are looking out for the customer themselves, not for the company that they work with. So it's very important that you have a financial professional that understands the federal benefits, number one. Number two is actually has your best interest at heart when they're taking a look at your financial plan and, okay, yes, you get this amount, but this is how this changes later on. How do we avoid that now? Are there certain things that we can do now to really set you up for financial success in your retirement, so that way you're not SOL 10 years, 20 years into retirement, and you're having to come to a pre-retirement workshop to figure out that you've screwed something up.
Right.
And you know what? This is so key, because there are certain retirement or certain decisions once you've actually retired that are irrevocable during a certain time frame on the application. And so it's really key to make sure that you get this information now, that you plan it properly, because you don't need to be in a position where you can't make a change that you may have needed to make prior to retirement, because now it's been 5 years, 10 years down the road.
Yeah, unfortunately we see that too often. So going back, we highly recommend that everyone first go get a report from HR, absolutely, but also let us do a report for you. Like Cassie actually does the reports. So I'm going to make you do the heavy lifting here, Cassie. But get a report, go to Fednobabble.com and just give us some basic information, and we can hook you up with one of our someone in our trusted network of advisors who, again, we trust, and isn't going to sales pitch you, I mean, then there's no cost, nothing like that. And you'll get this report that Cassie has that shows you this crystal ball, that shows you what's going to happen in the future. You've got to know this. You cannot, I don't know. I'm pretty passionate about this because we've watched the implications of people not planning like this, and it's sad. And we don't want anyone to have to go through that again. So any last words of wisdom here, Cassie, for everyone?
Go to Fednobabble.com. Get at your report. If you're a federal employee, if you know somebody who's a federal employee, like, share, subscribe, give them this information. Let them know that we're here to help and that we can help them out. So that's the goal is really just to help the employees, help their spouses, help you guys understand and make the right decisions for your retirement.
Perfect. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. Take care.
To get Cassie's comprehensive report on your federal retirement benefits at no cost, no obligation, and no sales pitch, go to Fednobabble.com. While you're there, submit a question for them to answer on the show.